morning. Come be sisters.
Good morning,
Good
Alex.
morning.
So you guys are blood sisters, and you have the same last name,
Yes.
but it's not your birth last name. So walk us through this convoluted, it's like a scandal of some kind.
When two people fall in love, Alex, sometimes it doesn't matter who their sibling is.
You married siblings. Let's
We
just
right. Right.
siblings
Right.
made siblings, and in this cruel anti-women world, you had to take on their name, and they couldn't both be named Devore, basically.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
our last name now is fairly cruel. I liked my maiden name much better. Don't tell Brian that.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely keep that part in the video. So
No.
let's talk about creation. So this is the beginning of 8 weeks on the book of Genesis. And today we're focusing on kind of if there's any part that's controversial, it's probably this part because it has to do with the creation account. And so what we're going to talk about today is Genesis chapters 1 and 2. And we'll cover some of the basic debates, but we'll do that only to give ourselves permission to get into the beauty of the actual account of it. And for those of you who are watching this, we're using Wayne Grudem's systematic theology. Just happen to handily have a copy of right here on my bookshelf, Science versus Faith, and if the two are incompatible. And so we're going to launch straight in.
I enjoyed it a lot because I spent my little bit of quiet time I get once the kids are out of school. In the morning, I get a whole extra hour and I drink coffee on the porch. And so it sounds silly, but when you're in nature and you're thinking about the big things of God, it helps me so much. I really enjoyed it. And the research made me think about things I hadn't thought about and in ways I didn't think about them before. And it was good. There's just like a few more years worth of study on this.
Yeah.
So,
I love the thought of being on your back patio with the birds chirping while you're reading about creation of the birds and the fish type of a thing.
yeah.
If you're researching something, if you're looking into something, and you leave that research or you take a break from it, feeling like, that answered that, then I don't know how far you looked into it. I think that it generates more questions and more. It was provocative. I feel like in all of the searching, I had to have the tether of God. I had to just keep going back to him and being, it made me closer in my visiting with him and my praying to him and my thinking about him, because sometimes when you're researching these things, you just do feel kind of unmoored.
For us to be people of faith, on some level, do we have to commit intellectual suicide?
No, God gave us a brain. I don't think our intelligence I think sometimes it can be an obstacle. I think God appreciates us using intellect. I think that he made us to be thinking, feeling, researching. In every part of our body, every part of our being is about gathering information. And so I don't think that puts him off at all.
If questioning things, and you mentioned that you left maybe with more questions than you started with, isn't that anti-faith? Isn't that hindering a childlike faith?
No, because I think the process of growing up already starts taking digs at childlike faith. I think
I can see how people who have no faith believe that you have to be stupid to believe some of the things that we believe. I get that. But being on the other side of it, I think it's crazy that people don't believe. I think that a lot of intelligence to be faithful, especially when you can't see proof of everything that you know in your heart and soul is true. And that's what God says faith is, believing in something that you can't prove. And I think God made us intelligent beings because he created us in his likeness. And I think we got a drop in the bucket, and look how smart we are. Look how smart the world is. Look how incredible everyone is. And I don't think that God is intimidated by our search or our intellect. As a matter of fact, I think why we're the only species on Earth that has it was by his design. And so I don't think that that's a problem for him at all. I think it's just a social problem. You know, I think it's just about people who don't believe think that people who do are ridiculous. People who believe feel pity for people who are smart and not ridiculous, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes big faith requires something ridiculous.
Grudem makes an interesting point that he says in the end, science and faith, they don't have to conflict. In fact, once we get all knowledge, there will be no conflict. I'm going to read a quote and ask you guys to respond to it. And this is in Systematic Theology on page 275. It says, this is a very helpful perspective with which the Christians should begin any study of creation and modern science. We should not fear to investigate scientifically the facts of the created world, but should do so eagerly and with complete honesty, confident that when facts are rightly understood, they will always turn out to be consistent with God's inerrant words in Scripture. Similarly, we should approach the study of Scripture eagerly and with confidence that, when rightly understood, Scripture will never contradict facts in the natural world.
I read and reread that paragraph many times. Every time I dig deeper into science, it really just proves how intelligent our design is, in my mind. If you look at the structure of a single cell, the incredible design behind it always points me back to God and intelligent creation.